There's a town in Pennsylvania that's been on fire for 62 years. A forest in California where billionaires perform rituals in secret. An underground city built to hide Congress during nuclear war. A luxury resort hiding a 30-year government secret. An island where the government engineers deadly diseases. A mountain where the president goes when the world ends. A CIA black site that officially doesn't exist. A base under the New Mexico desert that conspiracy theorists have died investigating. And a place so secret, it makes Area 51 look like a tourist attraction. These are 10 secret places in America you were never supposed to find. Some have been hidden for decades. Others were only discovered by accident. A few have killed people who got too close. And at least one might not even be real. But here's what makes this list different. Every single location has been verified, exposed by journalists, confirmed by governments, or accidentally revealed when someone forgot to keep their mouth shut. We're starting with number 10, a town that hasn't stopped burning since 1962. Hey everyone, I'm Gio, and today we're exploring 10 places in the United States that most Americans have never heard of, and probably weren't supposed to. Now, the United States is a big country, 3.8 million square miles of mountains, deserts, forests, and coastlines. Plenty of room to hide things. And the government? They've been hiding things since before your grandparents were born. Military bases, research facilities, continuity of government bunkers. Some of these places are hidden in plain sight. Others are buried so deep, it took decades before anyone even knew they existed. We're going from number 10, the least secret, all the way to number 1, a place so classified, it makes Area 51 look like a theme park. For each location, I'll show you exactly where it is, what the government was hiding there, and how it was eventually discovered. Because that's the thing about secrets, they always come out eventually. Sometimes it takes a journalist, sometimes a whistleblower, sometimes the ground just literally opens up. Quick note, if you're enjoying this, hit that subscribe button. We dive deep into American geography, history, and all the weird stuff they didn't teach you in school. Alright, number 10. Let's start with a town that hasn't stopped burning for over 60 years. Welcome to Centralia, Pennsylvania. In 1962, Centralia was a small but thriving coal mining town. Population around 1,000. Churches, schools, local businesses, a regular American community. Then someone had an idea. The town's landfill was an eyesore, sitting in an old strip mining pit. Why not clean it up by burning the trash? On May 27, 1962, firefighters set the landfill ablaze. What they didn't realize was that the pit connected directly to abandoned coal mine tunnels beneath the town. The fire spread into the tunnels, and then it found the coal. Miles and miles of it, an underground maze of fuel that had been forming for 300 million years. At first, people thought they'd put it out. They tried flooding the tunnels, they tried digging trenches, nothing worked. The fire just moved deeper, further, into tunnels that hadn't been used in decades, into areas no one even knew existed. By the 1970s, residents started noticing something was very wrong. Steam rising from their backyards, sinkholes appearing in their gardens, the smell of sulfur everywhere. In 1981, a 12-year-old boy named Todd Domboski was playing in his grandmother's backyard when the ground suddenly opened beneath him. He grabbed a tree root and held on while his cousin ran for help. The sinkhole was 150 feet deep. The temperature at the bottom was nearly 180 degrees. He survived, but that incident finally got national attention. The government realized they had a problem that wasn't going away. In 1984, Congress allocated $42 million to relocate the residents. Most people took the buyout and left, but not everyone. A handful of residents refused to leave. They said this was their home and they'd die there if they had to. The government eventually gave up trying to make them go. Today, Centralia is a ghost town. Population 5, down from over 2,000 at its peak. Most buildings have been demolished. Streets lead to nowhere. But here's the thing, the fire is still burning, right now, under your feet if you were standing there. It has been burning continuously for 62 years. Scientists estimate it could keep burning for another 250 years. There's simply no way to stop it. The coal deposit is too vast, too deep, too interconnected. The famous Route 61, once a major highway through town, is now closed. It's buckled and cracked from the heat below. Smoke still rises through the fractured pavement. In 2002, Pennsylvania revoked the town's zip code. Think about that. Centralia was literally erased from the postal system. Centralia inspired the horror video game and movie Silent Hill. That foggy, abandoned, hellish town surrounded by smoke, that's Centralia. Today, curious visitors still come to see the smoking roads and empty lots. It's become a strange kind of tourist attraction, a glimpse of apocalypse in rural Pennsylvania. Why does Centralia make this list? Because for 20 years, the government essentially pretended it wasn't happening. A town was burning, and no one wanted to admit they couldn't stop it. But Centralia is just the appetizer. Up next at number 9, a private retreat where America's most powerful men gather for secret rituals in the California woods. Number 9, Bohemian Grove. Located about 75 miles north of San Francisco, hidden among 2,700 acres of ancient redwood forest. Every July, for 2 weeks, some of the most powerful men in America disappear into these woods. Presidents, CEOs, media moguls, military leaders, no women allowed, no press, no exceptions. The club was founded in 1872 by San Francisco journalists and artists. The name comes from the bohemian, someone who lives unconventionally, outside normal society. But over the decades, the club's membership transformed. Artists were out. The ultra-wealthy and politically connected were in. Today, membership is rumored to cost about $25,000 with a 15-year waiting list. Every Republican president since 1923 has been a member. Herbert Hoover, Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, both Bushes. They all attended before reaching the White House. In fact, Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan reportedly negotiated who would run for president first at Bohemian Grove in 1967. The future of American politics decided at a campfire. So what exactly happens during these 2 weeks? The club's motto is "Weaving spiders come not here," meaning no business deals, supposedly. Just relaxation among friends. Activities include theatrical performances, musical entertainment, and lakeside talks where members share their expertise. Sounds like a fancy summer camp for billionaires. But there's one tradition that has fueled conspiracy theories for decades: the cremation of care ceremony. On the first night of every encampment, members gather before a 40-foot stone owl statue. Robed figures carry a coffin to the base of the owl. Inside is an effigy representing dull care, the symbol of worldly concerns. They set it on fire as a ritual of symbolic release. The club claims it's just theater, a symbolic way for stressed out, powerful men to let go of their worries for 2 weeks. Critics see something more sinister. The Grove secrecy was cracked in 2000 when filmmaker Alex Jones snuck inside with a hidden camera. His footage showed the cremation of care ceremony for the first time. The footage went viral long before viral was even a word. Suddenly, millions knew about the rich and powerful gathering in the woods to burn effigies before a giant owl. The club wasn't happy. They increased security dramatically. Today, private security guards patrol the property, and the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department provides additional protection. Is Bohemian Grove sinister? Probably not. Is it weird that presidents, billionaires, and generals dress up in robes to burn things in front of a giant owl? Absolutely. What we know for sure is that major decisions affecting millions of Americans have been discussed at these gatherings, far from public scrutiny. That alone makes it significant. The Grove makes this list because it represents something fundamentally American. Even in a democracy, there are places where the rules don't apply if you're rich enough. Alright, coming in at number 8, a monument so mysterious that when it was bombed in 2022, no one even knew who built it in the first place. Number 8, the Georgia Guidestones, or, as some called it, America's Stonehenge. Built in 1980 in a field in Elbert County, Georgia, about 90 miles east of Atlanta. The structure was massive, 19 feet tall, made of 6 granite slabs weighing a total of 240,000 pounds. It was precision engineered with astronomical alignments. But what made it famous and controversial were the messages carved into the stones. 10 guidelines for humanity, written in 8 different languages. Guideline number 1. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. At the time, Earth's population was already 4.4 billion. That single line sparked decades of controversy. What were they suggesting? How do you reduce the population by 7.9 billion? People had questions. Other guidelines were less alarming. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws. So who commissioned this thing? A man calling himself R.C. Christian approached the Elberton Granite Finishing Company in June 1979. He said the name was a pseudonym. He paid in cash and arranged funding through a bank in Atlanta. The banker who handled the transaction took the man's true identity to his grave. Theories about who built it ranged from secret societies to Ted Turner to a white supremacist doctor from Iowa. Nobody knows for certain, even today. For over 40 years, the Guidestones stood in that Georgia field, becoming a tourist attraction and a pilgrimage site for conspiracy theorists from around the world. Then, on July 6, 2022, at 4:03 in the morning, someone detonated an explosive device at the monument. Security cameras captured the explosion. The blast destroyed one of the 4 main slabs and damaged the capstone. Hours later, citing safety concerns, authorities demolished what remained. The Georgia Guidestones were gone. The bomber was never caught. No one has claimed responsibility. The mystery of who destroyed it joins the mystery of who built it. Some theorized it was destroyed by religious extremists who saw it as satanic. Others suspected the bomber knew something about its origins that the rest of us don't. Today, only the base remains, surrounded by empty field. The granite pieces were reportedly sold or donated, their whereabouts unknown. The Guidestones make this list because they represent a genuine American mystery, a monument that appeared from nowhere, said provocative things, and vanished violently. And we still don't know who was behind any of it. Now we're moving into more serious territory. At number 7, a backup Pentagon, buried inside a mountain in Pennsylvania. Number 7, Raven Rock Mountain Complex, also known as Site R, also known as the Underground Pentagon. Located on the Pennsylvania-Maryland border, about 6 miles from Camp David. Built during the Cold War between 1951 and 1953, Raven Rock was designed to survive a nuclear attack. The mountain was literally hollowed out to create space. Engineers removed 700,000 tons of rock, creating a complex that could house several thousand government and military personnel if Washington, D.C. were destroyed. The facility sits under nearly 700 feet of granite. It has its own power plant, water supply, medical facilities, and communication centers. Think of it as a complete backup: government, facility, offices, situation rooms, dining halls, sleeping quarters, everything needed to run the country from inside a mountain. For decades, the government didn't even acknowledge it existed. The first official mention wasn't until 1991, nearly 40 years after it was built. On September 11, 2001, Vice President Dick Cheney was evacuated to Raven Rock. It's been described as his primary location during the immediate aftermath of the attacks. The complex connects to other government facilities via a secure network called High Frequency Global Communication System. It also reportedly has underground tunnels stretching for miles. Today, the entrance is visible on Google Earth, a nondescript road leading into a hillside near Blue Ridge Summit, Pennsylvania. But you definitely cannot visit. The perimeter is protected by the military, and the airspace above is restricted. Even accidentally flying a drone too close could get you in serious trouble. What makes Raven Rock unique is its purpose: ensuring that even if every other government building in America is destroyed, someone in authority survives to give orders. It's part of a network called Continuity of Government, a shadow system designed to keep America running after the unthinkable happens. Raven Rock makes this list because most Americans have no idea that their government built an entire backup country inside a Pennsylvania mountain, and it's been there for 70 years. And here's the really wild part: there's another facility just like it, coming in at number 6, a luxury resort hiding a nuclear bunker underneath its tennis courts. Number 6, the Greenbrier Bunker. Located beneath the Greenbrier Resort in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, it's been a luxury destination since 1778. 26 presidents have stayed here. It's hosted royalty, celebrities, and the wealthiest families in America. Golf courses, spa treatments, fine dining, the works. But here's what guests didn't know. During the Cold War, The government built a massive underground bunker directly beneath the resort. They called it Project Greek Island. Construction began in 1958. The cover story was that the resort was building a new conference center. In reality, workers were excavating a nuclear survival facility. The bunker was built to house all 535 members of Congress in the event of nuclear war. Dormitories, meeting chambers, decontamination showers, a power plant, 112,000 square feet of underground space, protected by concrete walls several feet thick. The blast doors weighed 25 tons each. Here's the clever part. The bunker was disguised as exhibit halls and meeting rooms. Guests at the resort walked right past secret doors without ever knowing. The facility was staffed by government employees who posed as resort workers, part of a company called Forsyth Associates. Their job was to keep the bunker operational around the clock. For 30 years, the secret held. Thousands of guests came and went, weddings were held, corporate retreats happened, and underneath it all, workers maintained a doomsday bunker. Then, in 1992, a reporter from the Washington Post named Ted Gupp got a tip and started investigating. He interviewed former employees who confirmed everything. The story ran on May 31st, 1992. The headline read, "The Ultimate Congressional Hideaway. The secret was out." Once exposed, the bunker was useless. The whole point of a secret bunker is that it's secret. Within months, the government decommissioned the facility. But here's the twist. The resort turned it into a tourist attraction. Today, you can actually tour the bunker. They offer daily guided visits for about $40. Visitors can see the dormitories where senators would have slept, the blast doors that would have sealed them inside, even the decontamination showers. It's like a Cold War time capsule. The Greenbrier bunker makes this list because it shows how far the government went to protect Congress, and how easily a 30-year secret can unravel with one determined reporter. Now we're entering the top 5. At number 5, an island off the coast of New York where the government researches the deadliest diseases on Earth. Number 5, Plum Island Animal Disease Center, located on a tiny 840-acre island in Long Island Sound, about 2 miles off the coast of Orient Point, New York. Since 1954, this island has been dedicated to one thing: researching the most dangerous animal diseases known to science. Foot and mouth disease, African swine fever, diseases that could devastate American livestock. The location isn't random. Foot and mouth disease is so contagious that it's illegal to have samples anywhere on the US mainland. The water acts as a natural quarantine barrier. Originally run by the US Army, the facility was transferred to the Department of Agriculture in 1954. But rumors about its military past have never fully gone away. Conspiracy theorists have long claimed that Plum Island was where Lyme disease originated, pointing out that Lyme, Connecticut, where the disease was first identified, is just across the water. The government denies any connection, and most scientists agree Lyme disease evolved naturally, but the proximity has kept speculation alive for decades. What we know for sure is that Plum Island has experienced multiple security incidents over the years. In 2004, an inspector found foot and mouth virus samples had been mishandled. In 2010, a power outage knocked out backup systems. Workers scrambled to prevent containment failure. If any samples had escaped, the consequences could have been catastrophic. Getting to Plum Island requires federal authorization. There's no public ferry, no bridge. The only way on or off is by government-controlled boat or helicopter. In 2019, the Department of Homeland Security began the process of moving operations to a new facility in Manhattan, Kansas. Plum Island is being phased out. The Kansas facility will be more secure and capable of researching diseases that can jump from animals to humans, which raises a whole new set of concerns. Plum Island makes this list because for 70 years, the government has been keeping one of the world's most dangerous disease research facilities just miles from major population centers. Next up at number 4, a mountain in Virginia that's been hollowed out to house the president and top government officials when everything falls apart. Number 4, Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center. Hidden inside a mountain in the Blue Ridge, about 48 miles from Washington, D.C., and I mean really hidden inside the mountain. The facility was built in the 1950s and is officially run by FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. It's the crown jewel of America's continuity of government program. If nuclear war, catastrophic attack, or national emergency destroys Washington, this is where the government moves. The president, cabinet members, Supreme Court justices all have designated bunks inside. The above-ground portion looks like a small government campus, office buildings, parking lots, nothing special. But underground, there's reportedly a complete city, streets, buildings, even a small lake for emergency water. The facility can support several thousand people for an extended period. It has its own fire department, police force, cafeterias, medical facilities, and communication systems capable of reaching anywhere in the world. The public learned about Mount Weather in 1974 when a commercial plane crashed nearby. Reporters investigating the crash stumbled onto something they weren't supposed to find. Even more details emerged after 9/11. Members of Congress who were evacuated there described a fully operational underground government complete with replicas of their offices. No photographs have ever been released of the interior. No journalists have ever been allowed inside. What we know comes entirely from people who've been there and they're not supposed to talk. The security around Mount Weather is intense. Armed guards, surveillance cameras, motion sensors. The airspace above is permanently restricted. Even Google Earth blurs the facility. One former official described it as the complete American government in miniature, ready to function at a moment's notice if the outside world ceased to exist. Mount Weather makes this list because it represents the ultimate insurance policy, a shadow government waiting inside a mountain, ready to take over if everything above ground is destroyed. And if you think Mount Weather is secretive, wait until you hear about number 3, a CIA facility that officially doesn't exist, where the agency trains its most sensitive operatives. Number 3, Harvey Point Defense Testing Activity. Located on a remote peninsula in Hertford, North Carolina, along the Perkins River. Population of the surrounding area, almost nobody. Officially, this place is a defense testing site. In reality, it's one of the CIA's most important training facilities, nicknamed The Point by insiders. The facility has been operating since the 1960s. Its primary purpose, training operatives in paramilitary skills, demolitions, surveillance, and if reports are accurate, assassination technique. Nearby residents have reported hearing explosions at all hours of the day and night. Sometimes the ground shakes. The official explanation? Routine testing. Testing of what exactly? They don't say. In the early 2000s, investigative journalists linked Harvey Point to the CIA's Extraordinary Rendition Program, the controversial practice of capturing terror suspects and interrogating them in secret locations. Aircraft used in rendition flights were traced to the facility. Former operatives have confirmed that Harvey Point was where they trained before overseas deployment. The CIA has never officially acknowledged what happens at Harvey Point. When asked directly, they give the standard response: we can neither confirm nor deny. Satellite images show an airstrip, shooting ranges, and what appear to be mock buildings used for assault training. Some images show structures that were there one year and gone the next. The airspace above Harvey Point is restricted. The waterways around it are patrolled, and locals have learned not to ask too many questions about the mysterious facility in their backyard. What we know for certain is that some of the CIA's most dangerous and capable operatives have trained at this facility. Operations that have shaped world events were rehearsed on this remote North Carolina peninsula. Harvey Point makes this list because it represents the truly black side of government operations, a place so secret that even its existence is barely acknowledged, despite sitting on American soil for over 60 years. Now we're down to the final 2. At number 2, a place that might not even exist, but if it does, it's possibly the strangest secret in American history. Number 2, Dulce Base. Allegedly located beneath the Archuleta Mesa on the Jicarilla Apache Reservation in northern New Mexico. And I have to be very clear, this one is different from the others. Every other location on this list is confirmed to exist. They might be secret, but they're real. Dulce Base? It might be the greatest hoax in UFO history. Or it might be something much stranger. The legend of Dulce Base began in the late 1970s when Paul Benowitz, an Albuquerque businessman, claimed he was intercepting electronic signals from extraterrestrial craft. Benowitz became convinced that an underground alien base existed near Dulce. He said the government was working with extraterrestrials there, exchanging humans for alien technology. Here's where it gets interesting and tragic. We now know that the US Air Force deliberately fed Benowitz disinformation to distract him from classified aircraft tests at nearby Kirtland Air Force Base. They encouraged his alien beliefs because a UFO hunter chasing fake aliens wasn't looking at their real secret programs. Benowitz eventually suffered a mental breakdown and was hospitalized. But here's the thing, the Dulce legend didn't die with Benowitz. It grew. Other witnesses came forward. Some claimed to have worked there. Documents allegedly leaked. A man named Phil Schneider claimed he was a geologist who helped build underground military bases. He said he was in a firefight with aliens at Dulce in 1979 and had scars to prove it. Schneider died in 1996. The official cause was suicide. His supporters believe he was silenced. Skeptics point out that much of his background couldn't be verified. What do we actually know? There is something under Archuleta Mesa. Underground anomalies have been detected. But anomalies don't mean aliens. They could be natural caves or abandoned mines. The government has never acknowledged a Dulce base. Unlike Area 51, which the CIA eventually admitted existed, there's been no similar disclosure for Dulce. Why include something that might not exist? Because Dulce represents something important about how Americans think about government secrets. When you hide enough real things, people start believing you're hiding everything. The Air Force's disinformation campaign against Benowitz proves that sometimes the conspiracy isn't what you think. Sometimes the conspiracy is the conspiracy theory itself. Dulce Base makes this list because, real or not, it shows how secrecy creates its own mythology and how that mythology can be weaponized. Alright, this is it. Number 1, the most secret place in America. And no, it's not Area 51. It's the place that makes Area 51 look like a distraction. Number 1, the Tonopah Test Range. Located about 70 miles northwest of Area 51 in the Nevada desert, sometimes called Area 52, though that's not its official name. While the whole world was obsessing over Area 51, the alien theories, the UFO sightings, the conspiracy videos, Tonopah was quietly hosting America's most classified aircraft programs. The F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter tested at Tonopah for years before the public knew it existed. Pilots flew only at night to avoid satellite detection. During the day, the aircraft were hidden inside hangars. When the F-117 was finally revealed in 1988, it had already been operational for 5 years. The world was shocked by technology they thought was science fiction. But the stealth fighter wasn't the only thing at Tonopah. Captured Soviet aircraft were also secretly flown there. MiGs acquired through covert programs used to train American pilots against enemy technology. The Constant Peg program ran from 1977 to 1988. Over 1,600 American pilots trained in air combat against actual Soviet aircraft. The Soviets never knew. Even today, Tonopah remains operational. Satellite images show rows of hangars, unusually long runways, and aircraft that don't match anything in the public inventory. Defense analysts have spotted aircraft at Tonopah that appear to be prototypes for next-generation programs. What's being tested there now won't be revealed for another decade, if ever. The security at Tonopah is arguably tighter than Area 51. Armed patrols, motion sensors, restricted airspace extending for miles in every direction, the camo dudes you hear about at 51. Tonopah has them too. Here's what makes Tonopah so significant. It proves that while the public was distracted by aliens and conspiracies, the government was actually doing something far more impressive, developing technology decades ahead of its time. The UFO sightings near Area 51, many were probably test flights of experimental aircraft from Tonopah Triangular Craft. Unusual lights, impossible maneuvers. Advanced, but human. Area 51 became the world's most famous secret base precisely because it was useful as a distraction. Let people chase aliens there while the real work happened somewhere else. Tonopah Test Range is number 1 on this list because it represents the ultimate truth about government secrets. The ones you've heard of aren't the ones to worry about. It's the secrets you've never heard of, the facilities that don't have nicknames. The programs without conspiracy theories, those are the ones still successfully hidden. For every Tonopah we eventually learn about, there's probably another facility we won't know about for another 30 years, and another one we'll never know about at all. So there you have it, 10 secret places in America that were never supposed to be discovered. Towns that burn forever, bunkers under luxury resorts, mountains hiding backup governments, elite clubs where billionaires perform rituals, islands engineering deadly diseases, CIA black sites training the world's most dangerous operatives, and test ranges developing technology that won't be revealed for decades. What connects all these places? Secrecy, the belief that some things are too important, too dangerous, or too embarrassing for the public to know. Some of that secrecy makes sense. You don't want enemies knowing about your backup, government bunkers, or your stealth fighter programs. National security is a real thing. But other secrets are harder to justify. Does the public really need to be kept in the dark about underground bunkers for politicians, about what happens at elite private clubs, about CIA training facilities? Every democracy struggles with this balance. How much should the government hide? When does necessary security become excessive secrecy? Who gets to decide? What I find fascinating is how these secrets eventually come out anyway. A journalist digs too deep. A reporter crashes near the wrong mountain. A whistleblower decides the public should know. And when they come back up, they don't talk about what they saw. Not to reporters, not to family, not to anyone. Whatever secrets the Farallones hold, they're staying buried beneath those cold, dark waters. But our number one spot, it makes the Farallones look like a tourist destination. 60 miles west of Washington, D.C., buried inside a mountain, is America's backup government, Mount Weather. The facility's so secret, the government denied it existed for decades. Even after a plane crashed into the mountain in 1974, that crash killed all 92 people on board. And suddenly, reporters started asking questions. What exactly was this facility? The government's response? No comment. For years, just no comment. What we now know is this. Mount Weather is a complete underground city, built to survive nuclear war. It has its own power plant, its own water supply, its own hospital, cafeteria, and television studio. There are streets down there, actual paved streets with street signs, an underground neighborhood 60 feet below the mountain surface. The facility can house thousands of people, and according to continuity of government plans, those people would be the ones running America. If Washington, D.C. was ever destroyed, the president, cabinet members, and key officials would be evacuated here within minutes. They'd enter through massive blast doors designed to withstand a nuclear explosion. And from deep inside this mountain, they would continue to govern, broadcasting to whatever remained of America. On September 11th, 2001, members of Congress were evacuated to Mount Weather. It wasn't a drill. For the first time in history, the shadow government protocol was activated. America had a backup plan running. But here's what makes Mount Weather truly disturbing. There's a list, and you're probably not on it. In the event of nuclear war, certain people have been pre-selected for survival. Their names are classified. There's room in the bunker for the essential personnel. The question is, who decides who's essential? And Mount Weather isn't even the only one. There's a network of these bunkers across America. Raven Rock in Pennsylvania, Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado, Site R, and others we probably don't even know about. A parallel government infrastructure, hiding in plain sight, ready to activate when everything else fails. What exactly is inside Mount Weather today? What technology? What plans? What capabilities? Even members of Congress who've toured the facility say there are areas they weren't allowed to see, sections of the mountain that don't appear on any map, levels that officially don't exist. The government's official position? Mount Weather is a continuity of operations facility. That's all they'll say. Drive through the Virginia countryside today and you'll see the entrance. A small road, a guard booth, a mountain. Nothing about it looks special. Nothing suggests what's underneath. An underground city for the American government, waiting, always waiting, for the day it might be needed. And that's what makes it our number one secret place. Not because of what we know about it, but because of everything we don't. 10 places, 10 secrets, hiding right here in the United States. Underground fires, mysterious laboratories, airports with secrets beneath, billionaire rituals in the woods, alien test sites, mountain vaults, mysterious monuments, CIA black sites, radioactive islands, and backup governments waiting underground. Every single one of these places exists right now. Some of them maybe an hour's drive from where you're sitting. And the craziest part, these are just the ones we know about. How many more secret facilities exist? How many operations are running right now that won't be declassified for decades? The United States is a big country with a lot of empty space and a lot of places to hide things. Next time you're driving through the middle of nowhere, look around. You might be closer to a secret than you think. I'm Gio, and these have been 10 secret places in the United States that are never discovered. If you want to see more videos like this one, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. Which of these places would you actually want to visit if you could get past security, of course. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.